Hello everyone and welcome. This is Linda at Icky Chic Designs. I wanted to show you today some pieces that I am so in love with. As you know, I'm a very scrappy crafter. I love working with scraps of fabric and paper. But today's project is all about fabric scraps. Now, I like scraps, but I also like things to look on the artsy side. And so I want to be able to create and design things that can be useful but beautiful at the same time. So I decided to start making little projects out of my fabric scraps, and then just setting them on a shelf until I have a project that I'm ready to use them for. And so I have some here that I wanted to show you. And again, these are just made with whatever scraps you have of fabric and sometimes yarn and other things that you might want to throw in there. The other thing that I use is a very fine netting to go over the top of these because I want stitching, but I don't want so much stitching that it overpowers the design that the scraps are making. Okay. I did sew all these onto quilt batting, and I like that because it gives me a very nice base, but it's so flexible and can be used anywhere. Okay, now this one here is small, and my idea for this one is there's a wedding shower coming up, and everyone is giving in this one idea a recipe to the new bride. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to sew this onto a 4x6 index card, and on the card I will write my recipe, but on the other side will be this little piece of fabric art. So she could frame it, put it in a little stand. She could add it to a book, keepsake, or she can just put it in her recipe box, however she wants to do it. But it'll be a little something different. It'll be a decorated recipe card. Okay, so something like that. And you can see the different pieces that I've put on here. There are all kinds of things, a little bit of lace here, a little bit of weavy stuff here, different types of fabrics, and a little bit of trim that's all caught under a very thin layer of netting. Okay, and I used a wave stitch. You can see that, and just kept going around until I got it all down so nothing escapes. Okay, now my next one, I love this because it has a lot of glitz and shine to it, and I'm thinking about using it as a cover for a little book, a little journal, maybe a needle case, whatever, but I don't know for sure yet if that's what I'll do. But aren't those colors beautiful together? And as you can see, there's quilting cottons in here, there's some lace pieces in here, there's yarns, there's little motifs here that just were laying around, fabrics with some glitz to it, and again the very fine netting on top. Okay, now this was twice as large as I'm showing you right here, but what I did is I cut it in half, and then the other side I cut shapes from so that I could do something with the shapes themselves, probably in a junk journal, or they're appliques that could be added to t-shirts, sweatshirts. They could be used as patches because they're sturdy over jeans and things like that. So whatever a person came up with, it could be used. Okay, now the next two I really love, and when I got through with them, I thought, this would make beautiful pages inside a woodland type junk journal. I could cut it in thirds or halves, attach it to a paper, just sew the paper down and fold it so that it would glue, the paper part would glue down, and this would be the page. And then you could decorate this side. You could also just sew paper to it, glue paper to it, however you wanted to do it. But, or you could cut the shapes that, like I showed you on the other piece, you could cut shapes out of this and add to such a journal. But the colors lent themselves to the botanical woodland type thing, and I thought that was just beautiful. Just using scraps, creating a whole new fabric piece. Okay. I thought this would be a one also, and it lent itself to the fall theme, and it would be really pretty worked inside of a fall themed journal or piece of art. It would also be beautiful to cut these into shapes, add them to different projects, even just maybe framing it for a fall decoration would be pretty too. You can see all the different fabrics that are in there, different shapes, some with a little glitz and excuse me, and I've got allergies choking me up today. I'm so sorry. A little confetti pieces strewn around in there too. All right. Now this is a party type, fun type piece. Again, just a change of color changes everything with these scraps, and all these beautiful colors just kaleidoscoping in there, and it just looks like a little party festival piece. It's just so pretty, so many ideas to be used with this. Again, for junk journalers, these would just make beautiful little journals covers, just simply folded over and used as a journal cover, or pages. Isn't this one pretty? Got a little girl in your family? Wouldn't that be awesome? Little journal for her. Isn't that gorgeous? And, or you could cut some shapes and put some applique or patches on her jeans, and maybe a pocket on her t-shirt. Wouldn't that be pretty? Love it. Here's another one a little girl would be proud to own. So if you have some scraps in those colors, play with them. Don't throw them away, whatever you do. You got a piece of ribbon running through here and a piece of purplish eyelash yarn running through there. Little scraps that I have left over. Little pieces of scraps that have some silver thread in it. Gives it a little glitz too. Again, this is all sewn onto quilt batting. I love the pieces of this one also, and this one has a fall theme to me also. I have a lot of loose strings that threads that I had that I save in a box, pulled them out and couched them all in there with different fabrics and different glitzy little pieces in there to give it some shine and interest. And again, a beautiful cover if you wanted to use it for a small junk journal. Another piece that is more simple, has more of a little elegant look to it, has the yarns and the fabrics into it. And this again would make a nice cover for a journal. It also would make great covers for greeting cards. Just cut it and sew it onto the greeting card. Wouldn't that be pretty? Any of these is also usable for just plain art. Just frame it and hang it. They're just so pretty on their own. Make a collage on the wall of different things. This is the larger piece. This is a 10 by 10 and done in the creams and ecru's and pinks. Isn't that pretty? This is so gorgeous. This is going to go on a cover of a pillow for myself. I'm going to sew this to a piece of linen, and then I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches on the border, and I'm going to fray that down to this piece, and then that whole thing will be attached to the front of a cover of a pillow, and I think that's going to be just gorgeous. Okay, so you can see that with some fabric scraps, a little imagination. Now, I don't do a lot of planning, but I will kind of sort my scraps in color combinations that I like, and pull in different things, and then so when I get ready I can just scrap in that color tone. Sometimes it's all eclectic and any color will do, but in other projects it's a color tone. This was worked in a color tone, and this was worked in a color tone. And when I'm saying color tone, normally you can see about around three primary colors. This one is basically beige pinks and a little brown and a little green that's very muted but still there. And this one comes in the blues and the creams and this warmer color here. There is a few other little pieces in there but they blend very well with that. Now this was just anything went. It's what I had, and so I love the coloration after it was finished. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I had this orangey yellow, and I had this pink and green, and I had blue, and I thought, okay, well, let's just put it on there and see what happens. And I'm really happy with it. This was color formed beforehand, and so I knew that these colors would play together well for the girly theme that I wanted. And this one also was the same way. Now this one I did just whatever I had, and so again, sometimes it really, well, I say sometimes, every time it really surprises me what it comes out to be, and very seldom am I ever disappointed. In fact, I'm usually much happier than I think I'll be with that group of scraps and when I get finished laying it out. This was color coordinated first with the scraps of fall colors that I wanted to play with. This was also formed first and with a different color tones scrap pile, and so you can see how it came out. Both times was a fall theme and a woodland theme. I thought that turned out well. This little one here was not planned. It was just whatever went in there, even though the colorizations were limited. I didn't actually plan it. It was just in a group of fabric that I had together. So I like that one. And then this one was just whatever I had. So please, when you're thinking about your scraps or you're cutting them, throw them in a box. And when you get enough of them, play with them a little bit. You'll be so happy you did. Well, thank you so much for being with me, and I hope this inspired you to keep those fabric scraps out of the garbage and in a box in your craft room. And on a day when you feel very creative, just start putting them together and sewing them down. Thank you so much for being with me. This is Linda at Icky Chic Designs.